everyone, my name is Yakshini Priya and welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be an art journaling video. If you've seen my video a little while ago where I did my first art journaling page, I did mention that I was deciding when I'm going to actually upload a video for art journaling, because that's something that I've started now alongside with my artworks. So although my normal art videos will be uploaded every Thursday, now and again on a Thursday I may have a upload of a art journaling page that I may have done, because I am doing this just to relax and take some time away from my art. It is inspiring me more after doing art journaling and getting me really focused to do my actual art pieces. But there will be still my art videos, my painting, drawing videos that will be coming up on Thursdays, but now and again you may find on a Thursday a art journaling video. So today's video is an art journaling video, as I said, and basically I'm using the art journal that I created myself, and I am using some old book pages that I have, and just some gel medium, just to get this is acrylic gel medium, just to basically stick all my pieces of the journaling paper, or not journaling paper, the old book pages onto my paper. Now you would have seen that I was arranging everything and deciding whether I wanted to include the butterflies or whether I wanted to include the bird. Now you would have seen some music notes as well. Now the music notes, the birds, the butterflies, those were all printed on my printer. I do have a ink tank printer that I'm using, and basically it doesn't smudge, so I can use any medium on it. So yeah, that's what I am using. Those were just printed from a royalty-free website, and then I printed it out, and then I just basically ripped up the paper into little strips, and I'm using that to apply my music notes to the paper. I do have some masking tape across the center of the page, and between the two pages of the spread. That's just because I did stitch these pages together, and some of the stitching is showing through, and I don't want that to show through, so I'm just covering it with the masking tape. So you can see I'm not using a lot of mediums for this particular piece so far. All I've used is just a old book page, 2 pages that I just tore up and put them around the page, and I printed out some even the piece of paper that I printed now with some writing that also is printed from my computer, and I just cut up little bits of it and I'm sticking it on, basically just to build a base for my spread, my art journaling spread. Now I'm still new to art journaling and there's a lot I got to learn, and I don't have all the supplies that you would need, but I realized that you don't need all of the supplies. If you have some of the essential items like gesso, gel medium, maybe Mod Podge, some nice papers with some elements on it, then you should be good. Old paper you should be having around. Yeah, so you don't need a lot. Now you'll see I'm using some white gesso, and the reason I'm using some white gesso and I'm using my finger is just to get a smooth blend between the areas where the different paper overlaps. So where the music notes are overlapping onto the book pages, I'm just getting that covered with some white gesso, just so that I don't have any harsh lines showing through. And also some of the book pages, I don't want the writing to be a very sort of visual where you can really read everything that's written there. It's just to create a texture or a background to work on. So I am using the white gesso just to basically blur out those the writing a little bit and lighten those areas, because I just basically want that old vintage look of the paper, because this is an old book, and I just want to I don't need to really see all the writing. If there's a bit of writing in between, that's fine, but I don't want to see the full text showing through in my final piece. So you can see I did the same thing with the areas where I put the music notes as well as the writing. And I'm using my fingers just because I don't want to apply too much. I'm just applying enough that I have to blend. I don't want to have solid white in any area. I just want it to have a sort of a blurry sort of a look. You can see even with the music notes, I'm lightening up some areas. So there I'm trying to figure out whether I want to put the birds, whether I want to put the butterflies. I wasn't sure which ones I wanted to go with, and I finally opted for the bird and the one butterfly. So I am a fan of blue. It's not my only favorite color, but that's my top favorite. And I am using some of that gel medium just to stick on the bird, and on the other side I'm going to do the same for the butterfly. Now art journaling is something that if you've seen the previous video, I've mentioned this, but it's something that I never really thought that I would be actually interested in trying out. I didn't know much about it, but actually after trying it and working on a few pages of it, I've actually realized how relaxing and calming it is, and how much it actually helps me for my actual paintings and drawings that I do. So now what you're seeing me doing now is I'm just painting over with some gel medium over the butterfly as well as the bird. And the reason for doing this is because I am going to be using some texture paste or modeling paste over with the stencil. So if any of that gets onto the bird or the butterfly, it makes it easier for me to use a wet brush and just to lift up that modeling paste. So I just rinsed out my brushes. Very important to rinse out your brush quite often. And now I'm deciding where to place these stencils. Now it's not perfect, my application is not perfect. This, as I said, is all new to me. I'm learning with you and I'm sharing my experience with you. But I must say, if you're an artist, you're a painter, drawing, whatever you do as an artist, art journaling is something definitely to consider, because it is just such a nice creative process, relaxing. You can see now I've taken the modeling paste with one of my palette knives. I'm using a plastic palette knife, and I'm just applying it to the areas of the stencil that I want to show through in the different areas on the spread. Now I do use a hair dryer on low heat just to dry the layers in between. But one thing I did notice with the modeling paste is that when you are using it, let it dry thoroughly. So really dry with the hair dryer. Otherwise, when you do start adding paint over, it can change color. Mine did change pink in my first video that I did. So that's just a little tip to remember. Let it dry completely. So and also, like now you see on the edges, I'm just wiping off the excess of the edges of the paper because the design's gone right to the edge. That's just to prevent the paper from getting stuck to one another or even getting onto the previous spread that I've done. So now you can see I'm repositioning the stencil and I'm working on another area. And these, you can see I actually made a mistake there, and I shifted the stencil and it moved out of place, but that's not a problem. All you do is just take the palette knife, scrape off the texture paste, rub it back onto the bottle because you can use it again. Just scrape it on the edge of the bottle, clean up your stencil a bit, wipe off the excess from the paper, and then you can reapply the modeling paste. So it's not such a difficult or stressful task or process when you are journaling. Yes, you need to think of what colors to use, how to get everything to integrate together, to flow together, to work well together, but it's much more relaxing because you're not concentrating on the absolute details and getting things perfect or anything like that. You're just working and creating something that your intuition is guiding you as to what to choose. You're experimenting, you're trying out different colors, different techniques. You see, this is where I meant by using the gel medium over the elements, which is the butterfly and the bird. I'm able to clean off the excess modeling paste with a wet brush and not have any of that remain on the elements. So you can see I'm just adding in random places. I didn't really have a particular idea. All I wanted to use was to use the butterfly and the bird, especially the butterfly, and I wanted to use some modeling paste, but I had no idea how am I going to use it, or in which where am I going to place it. So I just started adding it randomly here and there. And obviously the stencils, when you finished with it, you can scrape off the excess and then just scrape it over the edge of the bottle of your modeling paste or texture paste, and then you can just wash out your stencils. It's very important to wash out your stencils as soon as you're done, because it can dry and then become difficult to wash later on, and also because these stencils are so delicate, by rubbing them a bit hard or you know, have bending them or anything, you could damage them. So it's better to wash it as soon as you're done. So like I was saying earlier on, for any artist, no matter whether you paint or whether you draw, I use different mediums. I use watercolors, acrylics, oils, graphite, charcoal, airbrushing. I use inks, I use fine liners. I use a variety of different products. Those are just a few, to mention a few. But despite me using all those different products, sometimes I have, or recently I've been having a need to create something that does not take any concentration. I paint and draw realistically, so I'm constantly looking for something that I can draw and paint, or do something creative, but that's not completely with me doing a full portrait of an animal or creating a texture for yes, we are creating texture in this case with the modeling paste, but we're not you know, spending a lot of time with perfectionism. We are looking at this, whatever happens, happens. So now you can see I added color. I'm using, I think I'm using watercolors for this one. I'm just applying watercolors to the once the modeling paste is completely dry, I'm just adding some watercolor, and then I'm using some water on the paper and spraying some water on the paper just to get it to basically spread around, moving the paper around and getting it to spread. So I'm not really paying attention to where the paint is going. I'm just randomly adding color here and there, using the spray just to move it around, using a wet brush with a lot of water to move it around. Adding darker colors certain areas, adding a lighter color certain areas. So I'm not really paying attention to real detail and trying to get it to look a particular way. Yes, I do want the colors to blend in a certain way, move in a certain way, especially with the purples and the turquoise or teals. I want them to blend into each other, but I'm not really too concerned if they go into areas that I don't want to. Or I don't want them to go into. If they do spread over the butterfly or anywhere where I don't want it, I can just dab it off. Or if it goes down too dark, or if it becomes too purple, for example, I can just dab it with a paper towel and that'll be fine. So that's what I mean by having a very relaxing time art journaling, because I'm not creating the elements from scratch. I'm not doing the drawing for everything on the spread from scratch. I've got the elements photographs, I've got the texture paste and the stencil, and then I'm just using the color to basically unify everything and get everything to flow together and work together. And that's what I find very exciting about art journaling, because you get to create a page that you can look at, and it's so beautiful to look at, and it's so interesting to look at. There are so many different aspects to it and elements to it. The colors blend so well together. And all of that, you're having, like, it's like having a busy page, but at the same time not having it too busy, but it's busy enough to bring interest to the page and bring lots of colors together, and using so many different mediums. That's another thing I like about art journaling. When I do my realistic paintings and drawings, I'm usually just looking at I need to paint, get the texture this way, I need to get fur this way, this is the color selection that I need to use for this particular piece. You know, you're concentrating on accuracy, proportions, and that's very important when you're doing realistic painting and drawing. And that's what my other art videos, I teach in my other videos, and I show you how I get those textures and proportions right and get the layering process done. But in this case, we are layering, but we are using mediums and different mediums, and we're using different techniques to create these layers, and we're not having to really stress about whether it's perfect or not. Sometimes it may not turn out well the way we want to, like in my second piece, which I haven't shown, but it's the piece before this one, the spread. I did not like how it turned out because of the way I tried to work with the piece and work with all the elements. So it's very important to remember that you don't always have to have your main art that you're doing, whether you want to do sculpting, which I've tried and I've enjoyed, or whether you want to do anything with embroidery or sewing or anything to that effect. Anything else, you can do it. Give yourself permission to do something else. You don't only have to stick to your craft. Yes, it's your work and it may be your hobby and you may be enjoying it, whether it's your hobby or whether it's your profession. You need to do your art and what you love to do, which I do. I love my painting, I love my realistic drawing, watercolors, gouache, acrylics, colored pencils. I love working with colored pencils and I enjoy that. But at sometimes you just need something that's a little different, considering that this is something I'm doing full time, where I'm creating art and realistic pieces with different mediums, and to really create that or get my creativity flowing, and to get a diversity in creativity and give me inspiration and motivation. And this is something that I realized does that for me, and it is so relaxing. And believe it or not, after I worked on these pieces, when I went to my paintings and drawings and color pencils and all of the other mediums, I was so inspired and so excited to create. I was like full, involved, focused and concentrated on getting those drawings and paintings 100% or as best as I can get them. And they turned out better because I had another creative outlet which was basically fueling different sides of my creativity. So on the one side, I have my art and my paintings and drawings, which are realistic with the different mediums I use. But then on the other hand, I've got something more relaxing, calming, creative as well. But I'm able to use any materials in one piece. It's a mixed media artwork. I can use so many different mediums that I wouldn't mix usually in my normal paintings and drawings. And that's the fun of it. You just get to let go and create and let your intuition just guide you and show you what colors you want to use, what do you want to add, what do you want to stick down, what words you want to add. You can even add words for inspiration, for motivation, for even gratitude or even affirmations, anything like that. You can do. Art journaling is up to you. It's whatever you want it to be. I can create an art journaling page where I do a illustration and I create that illustration myself, and then I use it in the spread of the art journaling. Like now you can see I've got some words that I typed out with different fonts, just some calming, relaxing words like calm, relax, just to bring calm to this page and bring a relaxed state to this page. And that's what for me art journaling is. I enjoy just taking some time out, using any medium I want to use, whether it's inks, watercolors, gouache, acrylics, sticking things down, getting them to work with each other, creating texture with modeling paste, using stamps, using stencils, using serviettes or napkins. There's such a variety of things you can use, chipboard. There's just so much you can use, and I don't even have everything that you could use, but whatever I got, I can make it work, and I can create these spreads that are beautiful to look at, that are interesting to look at, and that are just so inspiring. So you can page through your art journal and just get inspired, and then maybe go to your sketchbook and create something amazing in your sketchbook. So art journaling is definitely something that I have discovered, and I'm very glad that I really researched into it and looked into what it's all about, and actually I really enjoy it. So alongside with my artwork, art journaling is definitely something I enjoy. So I would highly recommend anyone who does anything creative, try art journaling out. It can be anything you want it to be, But for me, it's a way for me to not only express myself. I'm not really looking to express myself with it so much, but more as to just create pieces that I'm proud of, that are beautiful, that are interesting, use as many mediums as possible, create a mixed media piece with not having to worry about perfectionism or accuracy or proportions. Nothing has to be perfect. Everything can be however it turns out. There's some spontaneousness to it, so it can turn out well, it may not turn out good, but the experience of creating is what's so exciting and even magical to an extent. It's an adventurous journey to create these pieces. I mean, along with my art also is a very, I mean, it's exciting to create the textures, to create a realistic portrait of an animal, to create a landscape that can just let you relax. But together with my normal realistic paintings, drawings, color pencils, acrylics, I think art journaling is something that has just opened up my mind so much to the possibilities, and also helped me to create so much of inspiration and motivation. So I highly would encourage any artist, any creative, no matter what work you do or what creativity, whether it's a hobby, whether it's your work, whether you do it full time, whether you work with clay, with paint, it doesn't matter. Whatever you do, maybe try giving art journaling a chance and try working with it. You'll really see the benefits of it. It is so relaxing, calming, and also enjoyable. The process is so enjoyable, and you just get lost in it. And when you're done, you've got something to look at and you can be proud of, and then you can be ready and recharged and energized to create your masterpieces and your paintings and your color pencil drawings and whatever mediums or artworks or crafts that you do. So I would highly recommend you just create a journal yourself if you want, buy one if you want, and just use whatever you have on hand, because we as artists do have paints and things like that. There's a few essentials you may need, but besides that, just have fun creating. Art journaling is fun and definitely something I'm happy to do together with my usual art. So you can expect a lot of art videos coming out on my channel, as well as now and again you'll find some art journaling videos, as well as on my Patreon page I will be having some art journal videos as well as my art videos. So I guess that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to like and share. Feel free to comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Till the next one. Bye.